Welcome back to the program. By this time in President Trump's first term, there was already rumblings of leaks, people that were being subordinate, people that were going to the media, and it was just starting with the whole Russia garbage, right? Well, this time around, of course, we really haven't had that because President Trump has learned his lesson. But that does not mean that there are still not subversives embedded in Washington and maybe even perhaps in his own cabinet. We know that the Zelensky situation yesterday was planned beforehand. And of course, it was some of the same old faces that we've known about for a while. Apparently, they met with Zelensky before the meeting. There's pictures of it. Actually, Zelensky is the one that pointed a lot of this out. And of course, it was your normal RINOs and establishment figures that coached him, that told him what to say. Many of the Democrats in the room told him, don't take any garbage from President Trump. Stand up for yourself. Don't let him bully you, right? This is the type of language that the left and the RINOs and the establishment were pouring into Zelensky's head before he sat down with President Trump. Bipartisan group of RINOs and Democrat senators met with Zelensky and basically coached him, told him what to say, what not to say, how to get under President Trump's skin, and what to do. But I guess what they didn't realize is that J.D. Vance was going to be there too, or maybe they did, but they didn't understand that J.D. and President Trump think alike, number one, but number two, have quite different deliveries. President Trump can be blunt in your face and crash and brutal to you, but J.D. Vance is a political surgeon who will say blunt things to you, but he'll say it in a much different way. And so they coached, which is so crazy, they coached Zelensky beforehand. These are the people that did this. Let me give you their names. And again, like I said, it's not hard to figure out and understand why they do this, because they hate this country. They want to continue to fund this unwinnable, unbeatable, and costly, terrible war. And they want this. There's a lot of money in war, sadly. You got the military contractors. You've got the different groups that not just create the weapons and things like that, but also the groups that hire outside people and so many interpreters. And I mean, there's just a lot. That's why they call it the military-industrial complex, because it's an industry, okay? Amy Klobuchar, of course, Jackie Rosen, Lindsey Grahamnesty. Wow, imagine that. So here's Lindsey coming on television after the meeting going, I don't think we can work with Zelensky ever again after what he just did. Really? You're the one that sat down with him before, you lying pack of dog shit. Okay? That's what you are. Of course, you have Richard Blumenthal, Roger Wicker, Charles Grassley. Now, that's a little on the surprising side, right? That's the old man from Iowa. Been there since, I don't know, the Stone Age, pretty much. The people in Iowa need to figure out if they can find somebody else to run against Chuck Grassley, because he needs to go. Who else was in there? Chris Murphy, Democrat, of course. Peter Welch, Democrat. Sheldon Whitehouse got his own problems right now, right, with his wife's business and everything else, and all the lobbying that she's been doing, and then he's going and putting in pet projects towards his wife's business. There's no conflict of interest there. No, of course not. No, we won't be looking into you, Sheldon. And then, of course, Chris Van Hollen. So the whole thing that we saw with everything with Zelensky, he was coached, okay? The media's never going to tell you that, but he was coached. And President Trump, to his credit, threw him out. But of course, what did he do? He came whining, and he then decided to go to Starmer, and he went to his buddies in the UK, and they gave him 2.26 billion pounds. I don't know what the math is in their money, but whatever. He got a lot of money, okay? So the handout boy is still running around crying poverty for his country and getting more and more money. So, but Rubio has already cut off the supplemental income to protect their power grid. He said, nope, sorry, not after what you just did. And President Trump is also contemplating right now cutting off all aid to Ukraine. He said that the other day. And Elon Musk has suggested that the Doge team starts doing a full investigation into every single penny that the Biden regime sent to Ukraine. So things are happening in that respect. But again, subversives. These are the people that we knew when President Trump won that there was going to be RINOs that were going to go against him. They were going to try to do things behind his back. And one of the worst ones is Lindsey Graham, or Gramnesty as I like to call him. Anyway, there's some more good news though when it comes to Doge. By the way, Elon, have you ever heard of a condom? I know you've heard of condom bombs that were going to Hamas that you stopped, so thank you for that. But I don't know. Have you ever thought of, either, I don't know, a condom, snipping it, something, Incotus interruptus, pulling out, whatever? 14, really? Are you trying to populate the world yourself with little South African, half South Africans all around that hopefully are going to be geniuses like you? I don't know. 14th child. That's right. 14, number 14. Just 13 last week with that other, whatever she was, money grubbing, pretend America first, MAGA girl or whatever. So he's got another one. I don't know. Who's he got? Another 10 more coming? It's amazing. Anyway, red states have said, you know what, Elon? We really do like what you're doing to the federal government. So guess what? We're going to do it ourselves to our own states. Now, here in Arizona, we would be doing it, but sadly, we had a stolen election twice, actually, technically, 3 times, right? 2020, 2022, and 2024. So this is a red state that has been stolen by blue idiots, basically. Otherwise, we would be the 11th state, but sadly, we're not right now. So these red states have all launched their own Doge task force. These are the states: Florida, Georgia, Iowa, Kansas, Missouri, New Hampshire, North Carolina, Oklahoma, South Carolina, Texas, and Wisconsin. All of those states, the Republican governors and or lawmakers are going to be introducing either legislation or possibly even through the governor. I mean, some of these states don't have Republican governors, but some of them do. Actually, most of them do. They're going to direct the people to start working on audits and things like that. Hey, I got an idea. Never mind the spending. Why don't you go and look at your voter rolls, huh? Why don't we Doge those voter rolls? There's a hashtag for you. Hashtag Doge the voter rolls. Anyone want to roll that one out? That's what needs to happen. Especially in North Carolina. In Georgia, there's 2. In Wisconsin, there's 3. And North Carolina, there's 4. Right? Iowa's safe. Kansas is safe. Missouri's is safe. South Carolina is probably safe. Oklahoma is safe. But Florida is safe. So yeah, you got 4 or 5 on there that you could Doge the voter rolls. You want to look into some things? You want to cut some things? You want to find some crimes? Go after the voter rolls. All right? That's what I say. Next. Okay, so this is interesting. We have seen a 3-card Monty happening right now. You've got Pam Bondi demanding the release of the Epstein files. Then on this side, you've got Kash Patel saying, we're going to release everything. Then you got Pam Bondi sending a letter to Kash Patel saying, hey, those documents were not dropped. And then Kash Patel's going and saying, I don't know what happened. We're getting to the bottom of it, right? So what you have is a deep state that is doing this 3-card Monty, trying to figure things out, right? They are basically being subversive. They are basically saying to the FBI leadership and the Department of Justice leadership, we don't care if you're in control. we're going to do what we're going to do to protect ourselves because we're all a bunch of disgusting, sick pedophiles, and we all know Jeffrey Epstein, and yes, the documents you want to release to the public likely have a lot of our names in them. That's why they've been stonewalling. Well, a lawyer and also a former U.S. Army colonel, who I actually know from many years ago. I used to do a show called the Kira Davis Show many years ago, 2014, 15. It was a long time ago. And one of her main guests was this guy, Kurt Schlichter. Great guy. He's funny as hell. Writes for townhall.com. He's been doing that for years. Really bright and funny guy. Very biting humor. Well, he said on X that he has a way to get the FBI to comply, and if they don't comply, which they will, but if they don't comply, then he can also hold them accountable too. So here's what he was saying. He went to X and he said this. Let me click on it. I suggest at Pam Bondi direct that every special agent in charge in the FBI certify in writing that every single Epstein document has been supplied to her. The certification should go to a select few senior FBI officials outside of the jurisdiction of Washington, D.C. and New York, so that when and if someone lies, then they can be charged immediately with providing false statements, and of course they will be fired immediately and they can be prosecuted. That was his idea. I like it. I think it's a good idea. What he's basically saying is make these FBI officials certify when you ask for these documents that every single document is included. Are all the documents here? All the pages? Yes, they are. Okay, sign that that's the case under penalty of perjury. Okay, you signed it? Okay, if we find even one document possibly hidden up, I don't know, Nancy's pie hole, wherever it might be, one document pops out, guess what? You're going to jail. So it is a good way to hold them accountable. However, you know me, I want to take it a step further, okay? And here's what I would suggest. How about we do exactly what Mr. Schlichter has said? And once they find out that they have lied, how about we send our FBI, the new guys, and raid the FBI bad guys? They like to raid people all the time, right? They raid Trump supporters. They raided Roger Stone, my buddy, at 6 o'clock in the morning. They raided all these other people. They raided J6ers. They raided, old elderly women in front of, abortion clinics. I mean, they have gone throughout the last 4.5 years or so, raiding anyone and everyone. But how about if it's done to them? You think they're going to be happy about that? Has there ever been a time where the FBI raided the FBI? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. Who cares? The minute they're found to have been lying, they ought to be raided. That's right. No-knock warrant, middle of the night, guns a-blazing. Whoever these FBI agents are that are lying, that are holding and not releasing this documentation, that's it. Once they're found out, send a flight to SDNY in New York, and boom, go grab them at their homes in front of their wives and children in the middle of the night. Why? Because that's exactly what they did to Trump supporters. So we'll see what happens on that. And finally, this. This actually is really an interesting post. This was somebody on X, very, very smart. And they said that Adam Schiff, there it goes, Carl, was only pardoned for his January 6 offenses, right? And so he was not given a pardon on his Russia garbage, from, of course, the Ukraine phone call where he lied, just completely made up and fabricated President Trump's call. so much election interference. And remember, this pencil neck idiot was a central intelligence figure. He was the head of the House Intelligence Committee. He was the chairman of it. So imagine that. You have a subversive person who is basically anti-American and a communist going after his political opponents and using his bully pulpit as the head of the Senate or of the House Intel Committee. Absolutely insane. So Kash Patel and the Department of Justice and Pam Bondi still can go after Shifless, okay? Can still go after him for other crimes. Now, from what I can gather, let's see. He has done leaking of information, okay? That would be U.S. Code 793, possibly 10 years in jail. Let's see, you've got his ties to the Steele dossier. That would be leaking classified information, which again is U.S. Code 611. Conspiracy to get Trump. Okay, that would be another one. Conspiracy charge, U.S. 18371. That's another additional 5 years. You could have bribery for fake intelligence. That would be another one. U.S. Code 18201, 15 years in jail. Fraud, as he hid payments as well. U.S. Code 1346, that could be 20 years. That's concealment as well. And then, of course, perjury and obstruction of justice. Each one of those could be 10 to 12 years. And that could be a number of different things. U.S. Code 1001, which would be destroying evidence. And then I think 1512 is also obstruction of justice. So there are still plenty to get him. And here's the other thing. Joe Biden, or whoever was running the country the last 4+ years, guess what? He didn't go on the, pardon binge as I predicted and thought that he would. I remember sitting in front of the camera going, I am really scared that he's going to go and do thousands and thousands and thousands of intel officials and Democrats and all this. And he didn't, which goes to show you he really only cares about himself and his crime family and the immediate people, which I guess were Fauci and the people on the January 6th committee. Did he go after Judge Egeron? No. He didn't give him a pardon. Did he pardon Bragg? No. Did he pardon Willis? No. Did he pardon Jack Smith? No. Did he pardon James? No. He didn't pardon any of those people. He did pardon a couple of others, but not as many as we thought. And by the way, there is a huge redwood-sized tree. Okay? There's a huge redwood-sized tree of prosecution that reaches to the clouds. Okay? There are so many people left to prosecute. So, after reading this and seeing some of this information here, I came up with an idea, as I often do. What if I decide to do an A to Z, starting at the last name with an A, all the way to Z, and find, I don't know, maybe 100, 125, somewhere around there, bad actors, basically, Democrats, Rhino Republicans, FBI agents, CIA agents, NSA agents, other Democrats, whoever they may be, judges, whatever, whoever has broken the law. And then what we can do is I'll go from A, all the names, last names in A, B, C, so forth and so on, look them all up and figure out what they can be charged with. In other words, it would say their name, and then next to it, it would say charge, U.S. code this, U.S. code that, U.S. code this, U.S. code that. And then the next one, the next name. And do that. It's going to take some time, but to do that, put that all together, put it in like an article, and a video, of course, and then basically just put it out on X and elsewhere and say, here you go, Department of Justice and FBI. Here's a nice, neat little bow all wrapped up just for you that you can prosecute with. And that's what I'm thinking of doing. But in order to reach the type of people that it would need to reach, it would probably cost a little bit of extra money to promote it. So if anyone wants to see this happen, it would probably cost somewhere north of $400 or $500. Okay? So if anyone wants to go to PayPal and they want to, contribute to this fund, I will then put the whole list together. We'll find all the people. You can even help me. You can give the suggestions if you want. And I'll put it all together, and then we'll promote it. And if I promote it on X in particular, I think I can reach somewhere around probably 100,000 to maybe 200,000-300,000 views, which would then help me in my career, because that would be able to put me and break me through and put me back on the map, get out from underneath the censorship. But it would also get the attention of the people that can do the prosecuting. And that ultimately is the goal here, okay? So could you imagine having 125, 150 names, all the different people listed alphabetically, so you don't know which one to do first? You just do it alphabetically by their last name. You got 120, 130, 40, whatever it might be. You put it all together, and then here you go. I cooked the meal for you. It's got all the ingredients already baked into it. All you got to do is serve it and eat it. That's what we ought to do. And it would be something that would not happen, in a day or 2 days. It would take me a lot of time to kind of do my own investigations and all that and put it all together. But I am willing to do that, put it all together, and then promote the hell out of it. And it'll be for the good of the country. We will get these people to be prosecuted. We will give this to the FBI, to the Department of Justice, to wherever, to the Trump people. I'll have all the people's information in it. And then anyone that takes it, they send it to them as well. So it's not just me doing it. It's all of you. It's everybody else out there. We are just bombarding the FBI and the Department of Justice and the Trump camp and the Trump administration and all the people that we need to reach. And who knows what can happen? It would be like a nice, neat present right for the Department of Justice. And they can look at it and they can say, this looks great, or wait a minute, you forgot this, this, and this, or I don't know if we can get them on that charge, but now that you brought it to my attention, we can probably get them on that charge. That's what I want to do, okay? So if anyone wants to help, feel free to go to the PayPal and go ahead and do that. Other than that, I think Zelensky is in deep, deep trouble here, at home especially. I think they're already starting to figure out ways to try to get rid of him. President Trump has basically said, look, if you don't want peace, fight it out yourselves, right? That's what he said. But what he should have said is, this is the deal, okay? You sign the mineral rights over to us, you sign this ceasefire, and that's it. It's over. There's your guarantee. I'm President Trump. There's your guarantee. If that's not good enough, you go fight it out with Russia, and we'll see what happens there. And we cut off everything, every single dime, gone. And then we put the pressure on our allies in Europe and say, hey, if you continue to fund Ukraine in this situation, we're going to cut you off as well next. President Trump is the leader of the free world. And as the leader of the free world, he has enormous power and leverage. And he's got to use the leverage. Last thing. They are working on legislation to make the DOGE cuts permanent, which is exactly what I've been saying for weeks now. And they're going to introduce it into Congress. Now, we have an extremely small, very small majority. So how are we going to get that done? Well, I think Elon Musk can help get that done because he can be the enforcer, as I've said before many times. But also, pressure campaigns from patriots around the country just crushing the emails and Twitter and everything else on these RINOs and these Democrats in particular. And guess what would happen? It would get passed. And the people that didn't vote for it, well, guess what? In 2026, Think of the attack ads that will be run saying, you know, Senator Elizabeth Warren, she's not for America. She's for, you know, spending your tax dollars on stupid stuff. She voted against giving you a $5,000 kickback from all the fraud that we found. See what I'm saying? It's a bad, bad situation, politically speaking, for anyone to vote against a bill that was going to give $5,000 back to the American people of their own money that was stolen from them. How can a Democrat run and say, vote for me, and, you know, but I didn't give you the $5,000 and everybody else did? Really? It's not going to work. So that's why I'm saying brains and leverage, that is the key. Those are my thoughts. What are yours? Put them down in the comments below. I'll see you in the next one.